Hey there, funnel builders. Mike here from sellyourservice.co.uk. What would you say if I told you that your beliefs around money and your mindset around money and some of the other myths around money might be killing your marketing funnel business? In this video, I'm going to explore the 5 most common money myths and beliefs that are destroying your chance at running a healthy, profitable, and successful marketing funnel business. The problem is that our very beliefs around money trickle down into our own marketing funnel businesses, our sales processes, and our products. Most of us set up a business because we wanted freedom from employment and we wanted to make a decent living. Our marketing funnel business deals with money every single day. Not only do we need to make money and we need to spend money, but our products and our services should be creating money for our customers. So there's a lot of times that money comes into play that we don't really think about, and it kind of stacks up. I want you to think about, imagine running a chocolate business when you hate the taste of chocolate, you don't really think that people should eat it because it's unhealthy, and you're allergic to cocoa. You can imagine how bad that would be for your chocolate business. The situation that you're in, if you refuse to have a positive, healthy mindset around money, is kind of like running a chocolate business when you hate chocolate, you're allergic to chocolate, and you don't really think people should buy it. So I have 3 books with me at all times. I have a budgeting book, I have a goals book, and I have my notebook. Essentially, my budgeting book manages every aspect of my personal finances. I always want to be what's known as ahead of budget, which is to say I know how much I've got to spend every day before my bank does. So why is that important? Well, it's not my bank's job to manage my money. It's my job. My income is my own resource. It's my energy, it's my time, it's my ideas, it's my relationships. No one else is going to care about my money as much as I do. So I do everything I can to make sure I know where my money is, where it's going, and what it does. Is your body the responsibility of a gym or of a restaurant? Is your eyesight the responsibility of your optician? Of course not. So why would your money be any different? It used to be that only the wealthy could start businesses, and it used to be that only the wealthy could keep an eye on their money. It used to be that money was harder to get and make and generate unless you already had it. But with bank apps, online banking, PayPal, Stripe, Control, WooCommerce, eBay, Amazon, and countless other online payment shopping systems and marketplaces, it's easier than ever to make money, and your marketing funnel business should be utilizing as many of these as possible. If your mindset isn't healthy around money, you're going to struggle to make more of it. And on top of all that, here's the big kicker, is you can be wrong about money. I used to have massive hang-ups about money. Let me know in the comments if you've got any of these as well, right? All rich people are wankers, okay? That was a huge thing that I used to believe. They might have money, but they don't have happiness. I'm constantly told this by other people. And the third, and this is the big one, particularly of my generation, is, oh, it's all the bankers' fault we're in this situation. The previous generation fucked us over and no one has any money because of them. Now, most of my thoughts and beliefs around money were probably passed down to me by my parents, even unintentionally, and it's probably the same with you. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You know, everyone's just trying to do the best they can with what they know and what they believe. But how you work with money now is totally and completely up to you, and it could be killing your marketing funnel business. So let's look at some of the common beliefs that you might have around money, how they affect your marketing funnel business, and how to work on them and turn them around. So belief number 1 is that I'll never be rich, or I wish I was rich. This deep down is one of the hardest beliefs around money to confront. I don't know if you've ever thought deep down when other people talk about wealth and success and money that you'll never reach that level of income. I know I have. In fact, I used to trick myself into thinking that I could be rich by wishing I was rich. Bit of a pro tip here. If you've ever wished you were rich, then you probably don't think you can be rich. I wish I was a ninja who had a robot sidekick, but it's probably not going to happen. A wish is something that can't happen unless you turn it into want and can. So how is this killing your marketing funnel business? Well, most marketers I know just want to pay the bills. They say, look, I just want to survive, pay my bills, save a little, and maybe buy a few nice things. I don't want to be a millionaire. That's kind of like wanting to say that you want to climb the stairs without losing your breath. It means your sights aren't set high enough, which means you're probably going to never reach that level in the first place. I want you to think about your current belief that you'll never be rich or that you wish you were rich, and how has that helped you so far? Are you able to pay the bills? Are you able to go on holiday? Are you able to save money? Think of all the things that you do want to do. Has your wishing for riches or believing that you one day will never be rich really helped you? Probably not. I absolutely understand that being filthy, mad, mega rich might seem like a massive undertaking, but it isn't impossible. You just have to believe that it can be done. If you're unwilling to believe that you can be rich, why would anyone pay you to make them money? Have you ever seen a fat personal trainer or a shy radio host? Your entire belief system powers your ability to help people. Not how to make money, right? That's important. Not how to make money, but how to help people. If you honestly and truly believe that you can be rich and wealthy, that means that you believe other people can become wealthy too. If other people can pay their bills, save money, invest, go on holiday, you're helping them live a better life. And that's not to mention profit and income, okay? So what about profit? What about income? There are two massive benefits to making money. Number one, if you're profitable, you're in business and you can continue to help people. No margin, no mission. If you're profitable, you're in business, okay, you still exist and you can continue to help people. As a marketing funnel business, you can help grow other people's businesses and make a difference in their lives. If you don't have money, you don't exist. And if you don't exist, you can't help them. Number two, the more profitable that you are, the more tax you pay. I personally am happy to pay tax. I think tax is a system that gives money and supports services and people who need them more than I do. And the more I make, the more I can give. Your belief that money is for other people makes you one of those people. Be someone who gives and not someone who takes. This is a huge thing. Wealthy people create money and poor people use and take and consume money. I think we can switch our mindset to say exactly what we need it to say. We have a money mindset with us, which is I can be as wealthy as I want and I am morally obliged to make as much money as possible so I can help as many people as possible. Thoughts become words and words become reality, and that cycle goes on and on and on. If you want to run a successful marketing funnel business, know that you are morally obliged as someone who has the ability to make money and to make as much as possible. So belief or myth number two, mindset number two, no one will pay that or no one has any money. We often talk about the richest 1% or 5% and how they own 95% of the wealth. Money is kept in private networks and inner circles, and that's why no one has any money. And because no one has any money, they'll never be able to afford my higher prices. And that is grade A bullshit. The problem with negative mindset around money is that you have to invent lots of ifs and ors to explain the world around you. It's a bit like a conspiracy theory. The world doesn't quite match up with your reality, so you have to invent reasons why things happen the way that they do. I'm constantly telling people to increase and up their prices. The most common question I'm asked is, how much should I charge for a marketing funnel? Now, I've written about this time and time again. I'll make sure to link those below, as well as the blog post for this video. And I think that your projects should probably be around $20,000 plus. Okay, that's what I reckon. Even basic websites should be around that price. But when I tell people that, that's how much that they should charge, I'm given every excuse in the book as to why they can't do that. I've had people comment on my posts and my social ads saying $20,000 is an insane amount of money for a marketing funnel or a website. None of my clients would ever pay that. And my question to you is why? Okay, why wouldn't they? And the reason is because you're not delivering $20,000 worth of value. It's pretty simple, frankly. Besides, if you're saying that your customers wouldn't pay that, that's like saying none of my children are called Sam, so no one else should have children called Sam. It's basically measuring your current experiences and applying that to the rest of the world. We call that anecdotal evidence, and human beings are really good at it, at making massive, rash, huge, sweeping judgments based on the tiny, limited, almost insignificant level of experience that they've had. Your current experiences are not the limit of the world around you. You believe that people wouldn't pay that much because they don't have that kind of money. Well, that's your fault. Okay, I'm really sorry if that upsets you, but if you're not finding customers who do want to spend $20,000, $50,000, or hundreds of thousands of dollars on marketing funnel projects with you, that's entirely your fault. When people ask me what they should charge for a marketing funnel, what they're really asking is, can I justify, or can you justify, why I only charge $3,000 for a marketing funnel and never make any money? That's what they're really asking me is, can you explain to me why I'm charging $3,000 and not making any money? If you don't make any money now, it's probably because your prices are too low. $20,000 is nothing in comparison to the revenue you could be bringing into your customers. 20 products at $1,000, 20 products sold at $1,000 would cover your costs. Now, does that sound insane over the period of a year to sell 20 products at $1,000? Does that sound impossible? If they had a list of just 100 previous customers, are you telling me that you can't get 20 of them to spend $1,000? What if they had a list of 1,000 customers? Could you get 20% of them to spend $1,000? That's just 2%, a 2% conversion rate to get them to each person to spend $1,000. Now, some of these hang-ups and beliefs we're exploring now, and some others are things like, if I make money, people will judge me, and I get that. If I can't raise my I can't raise my prices if my previous customers only paid a certain amount, or I might make too much money and become like people that I hate. Now, can you see that once you change your initial beliefs around money and raising your prices, not only makes sense, it's actually morally the right thing to do. So therefore, if my prices are $20,000 or $50,000, or my colleague Rob, his case, $250,000 minimum, that's his minimum price for a marketing funnel from my mate Rob. It's better for me to search for people who can and do want to afford that. If I raise my prices and find people who can afford it, I set in motion a series of events that could literally change the world. So first of all, if I raise my prices, I raise my income. I'm safer, I can start working less and spending more time on the things I love and with the people that I love. With my prices higher, my profit is higher, and I'll pay tax, okay, giving back to the country, system, and people that need my income. If I'm profitable and charge what I'm really worth, I can help more people. I can help businesses generate more money and generate more profit. And if I'm helping more people make more money, I'm adding even more into the profit and tax system. I can scale my impact on the world almost indefinitely and infinitely by helping more and more people. So a lot of people say to me, okay, Mike, but what about those people who avoid paying tax? Only rich people avoid paying tax? It's disgusting. I know loads of rich people who do everything they can to avoid paying tax. I agree. Frankly, I believe there are people who avoid paying tax, but I've got news for you. There's also poor people who avoid paying tax. There's poor people who go on benefits and do benefit scams and benefit fraud. There's rich people who commit fraud. Money isn't inherently right or wrong or good or evil. The people who use it are. But frankly, what's that got to do with you? Are you a more dangerous driver because there are drunk and dangerous drivers and bad drivers on the road? What other people do with their money and their value system is entirely on them, and it's got nothing to do with you. First, the amount of money that is taxed legally and fairly, which does enter the system to help people and pay for services, far outweighs the amount of tax that's hidden and saved and squirreled away. Second, people who are immoral or even illegal with money will always exist, and history has shown that typically a system like that is pretty unsustainable. Their fate tends to catch up with them, and they do end up paying. Besides, if you're so morally outraged about it, do something about it. Make more money than them and bring the money back to the right system. Take the money out of their hands. People will pay exactly what they think something is worth. Art, cars, houses, furniture, consultation, books, courses, plane tickets, everything has a value, and people spend billions every year on items that they want and need. Your product and service has a right to be charged fairly for. Once your mindset on money is positive, it's no longer about convincing people to pay your price or compete against a cheaper alternative. It's about finding as many people as possible to pay for you to help them. And you might think, but what about people that can't afford me? I feel bad because I should be helping people, and you've told me that I should help people, but some people can't afford me. It's a really good question. Again, it's something I'm often asked, and not something that I haven't struggled with myself personally, but there is a solution. Let's say you only work with those who can afford you. You build up enough of a business where you now have 5% of your income now spare. You have profit, tax, debt, salary, overheads, costs covered, all of that kind of stuff. So you start to take 5% of what you earn and use that to give back. Education systems, foundations, universities, online courses, you could take all you know and offer as a massively reduced price through other systems and delivery methods. But you can't do that straight away. You must build yourself to profit first. You've got to start with the people who can sustain you and support you. Take that, and when you're at a stage where you have healthier margins than ever before, start taking that and giving it back. Instead, I want us to think about the money system or the money mindset of I will charge what I'm worth because it's morally the right thing to do. I'm worth the investment, and I need to find people that need my help. Imagine you're a doctor and that you can heal broken legs. You don't even have to be the best, frankly. You just need to know that you can help people walk again, help relieve the pain, help them live a better life. Would that not be your moral obligation to find people with that problem? Yes, healing a leg that's broken is very, very painful. It's quite expensive. But can you imagine someone turning you down? What would you do? Would you walk away if they turned you down? Probably not. You are obliged to help that person and help them get better. Your values would tell you that you must help that person at all costs. If you don't have a strong enough conviction with what you can do to help them with, you're going to struggle to find people who want to do business with you. So, negative mindset and belief number 3 around money. This is a big one. Being obsessed with money is dangerous or even evil. So we're kind of in the big leads now. Timothy 6:10 in the Bible says money is the root of all evil. And first of all, that's not even the correct quote, right? The actual passage, and you can look it up, is for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, okay? Very specifically, it's not money is the root of all evil. That's a really bad paraphrasing. It's for the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil. Imagine being so against wealth and money that you willingly and blindly follow a Bible passage that's been misquoted over and over and over to become a warped version of what it once was. Imagine that kind of ignorance. Money is the root of all evil, like oxygen is the root of all evil. What about diversity or education, evolution, freedom, child slavery, sex workers, equality? We all happily challenge injustice with those topics, but with money, we're happy to accept the status quo pushed onto us by people who have no money. Okay, it's really important that you look at the angle and the slant of people who push the whole money is the root of all evil. Remember when we talked about bad drivers not making you a bad driver? Sure, money is used for all kinds of evil. It's also used for countless levels of good. Medicine, charity, shelters, aid, heating, food, clean water, research, support, counselling, therapy, hospitals, childcare, education. I could go on and on and on. This quote used as reasoning for not becoming rich is without a doubt the weakest argument and belief there is. It's used by lazy people who have no interest in understanding and learning more about money. Evil is the root of all evil, right? Bad people do use their money to further their courses, and yes, some evil people make a lot of money, but it isn't the money that does that, it's the people. Money is an accelerator. It amplifies whatever it's already got, and it goes where it amplifies where it goes. If someone's a tyrannical, rude, uneducated, miserable, or pompous, or all 5 maybe, money will just make them more so. Everything uses money, and everyone needs money. It's at the center of our entire civilization. Even societies that do away with money and go back to a barter system end up using money again very, very quickly because it doesn't degrade, it's easy to keep track of. Obsession with money is what will drive your cause further and help you change the world. If you don't want money to be a problem, get obsessed with it. Focus on it, learn about it, love it, care for it. What you appreciate, appreciates. Okay, whatever you appreciate and focus on grows. Let's say that even secretly you've decided to embrace money and be grateful for it. You're now a little afraid to proclaim your new love of cash and money, but you accept that you're going to be as obsessed with money as you are anything else in your life. When you accept that you need and want to become obsessed with money, you're more open to receiving it. It's pretty simple. You'll actively see and look for opportunities that allow you to earn more, learn more, and deal with more money. Have you ever bought a red car only to see that car everywhere after you buy it? It's a really common phenomenon. It's the same thing, really. When you're open to money, the good that it can do and the good that you can do with it, you'll see more of it and access more of it. One of the big reasons people struggle to make millions in the world is their circle of family and friends judging them. I've gone through it. Many other people have gone through it too. And as soon as you start earning more, you'll outgrow your current network. That can be quite painful. You can absolutely still have friends, but some, very, very few, to be honest, might resent you. And what about strangers too, right? They'll judge you for having money. Well, I've got news for you, okay? You're actually not that likable already. Your values, what you prioritize, and what you feel is important will already alienate 50% of the world's population. Remember, money is an accelerant. Your values don't change as you earn more. Your ability to promote and use those values does. So, more people will see those values, but it isn't the money they hate. It isn't even you. It's what you stand for. Let's say I've always believed in teaching education in schools, right? That fact-based evidence is 100 times more important to teach to children than the myth of creation. I've probably already upset and even pushed away a few viewers just by saying that. When you have money, your values will naturally come out and you'll reach out to more people. You might even promote them and use money to further your cause. So you're bound to attract more judgment, maybe even hate, based on your values. Money just accelerated the reach and the result. So, don't worry about being judged. People are already judging your diet, the way you drive, how you dress, the TV you watch, the exercises you do, the way you run your business, how you talk, and how you write, how you create videos. You might as well let them get on with it. When you do have money, it draws people out of the woodwork. Your job then becomes protect money and use wisely rather than find as much as I can. An old childhood friend of mine reached out to me recently telling me he had a wealth management business. He found me online basically because I do YouTube videos and blog posts and webinars and stuff. And he saw that I was doing okay. So sure enough, he asked me to not only allow him to manage my money, but to invest in his business. And I hadn't talked to this guy in probably close to 25 years. So why the fuck would I want to give him anything? What was I? So I was when I turned him down, I think I was called a selfish, rude prick and a rich wanker. I'm not rich by any standards, by the way. And I was absolutely judged for not giving him any of my money, even though, frankly, my reasons for not giving him any money wouldn't have changed. It was 5 years ago and £10, or in 50 years' time and 50 million. So let's have a positive money mindset. I need to be obsessed with money and making as much as I can so I can do more and give back more to the world. My values won't change. I can simply do more with my values and more money. Imagine being locked away in a prison. Your values are what got you there, even though you were doing what you thought was right for society and your community judged you for your actions. So let's say you've gone to prison for what you consider to be values that are important, even though what you thought was right and society, you thought it was morally just and societally just, but society and your community judged you for your actions. You'd become obsessed with freedom. You'd value freedom and you'd do everything you could to get as much freedom as possible. You'd behave according to your values still and work out how to become free quickly. Nelson Mandela was arrested and kept in prison because of the values that he stood for. At the time, he was labelled a terrorist. His actions were exactly the same as any other terrorist today, and he was doing it for reasons that he believed in. Judged at the time, he was locked away, and what kept him going was this concept of freedom. He longed to be free. He studied, worked hard, and kept to his value system, obsessing over his freedom. Eventually, he was released, and his legacy lives on today as one of the most important figures in the anti-apartheid movement and rule in South Africa. Your obsession with money needs to be the same as prisoners with freedom. Value it, work to earn it, and appreciate it. You'll still be the same person, just richer. Money doesn't change people, it lets them be who they already are. Number 4, this is a big one for the creatives in the room. Being poor and struggling is noble. Have you ever been truly poor? And I don't mean like no money in the bank or can't afford Netflix this month. I mean like genuinely actually poor. So the definition of poverty. And chances are you probably haven't if you're watching this. There's a huge difference between first world poor and third world poor. Third world poor means drinking unsafe water, child prostitution, living in war-torn states. It means little to no support from the government and literally living or surviving day to day. If you're a man, you'll probably work as a farmer or in the military, or you're a criminal. If you're a woman, you're probably a teenage or earlier mother and wife, maybe even one to many. Education is hard to get and harder to use. As a female, you might not even be allowed to learn. The little money you earn is taken from you by your warlords or by your government or means of force, or you have to spend it on just barely surviving. You aren't able to really spend it on education or anything like that. We often call these barefoot nations as well, that they physically can't afford shoes. First world poor means living in a society that values money and having things. It's a hard life, and there is absolutely poverty in many first world countries. I'm not saying there isn't, but with one massive crucial difference. Your education is entirely within your own control. Education is the key to rising above poverty. Hans Rosling talks about this a lot in his book Factfulness, about how education is what brings child mortality rates down. It brings clean and safe drinking water levels up. It means that people are able to stay out of war-torn countries. Education is the key. And in what we know as third and fourth level economies, education is entirely within our control. In many Western nations, we seem to value being poor. We wear the badge of poor on our shoulders as a badge of pride, proudly proclaiming that we're working hard and it's the man that keeps us down. Bill Gates says, if you're born poor, it's not your mistake, but if you die poor, it is your mistake. If you die poor, it's your fault 100%. You have absolutely no reason for not learning more to bring yourself out of debt, raise money, work smart, and make more money. You have absolutely no excuse whatsoever for not being rich. Many people without money believe that it's the 1% or the 5% of the wealthy elite that are keeping them from making more. Like they want to hoard all the cash for themselves so that they can buy drugs and apartments and holidays and hookers and mega yachts. Offshore accounts hoarding, $21 trillion, the richest 1% hoarding $140 trillion, which is roughly 50% of the world's wealth. It's numbers and statistics like that that cause social justice warriors and proud to be poor people to get up in arms and post on things like Facebook and Tumblr and Twitter. There should be equal distribution of wealth to those without money. The rich wouldn't even notice it. Imagine there was a series of systems that allowed those with no money to amass millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars overnight. Imagine there was a system, okay, no matter their past, no matter their education, their current financial status, imagine there was a way to equally distribute more than enough per person to an individual, millions, and amass that overnight. It's called the lottery, and it doesn't work. A third of all lottery winners declare bankruptcy, 33%, right? That means of 100 winners, 33 of them are actually worse off than they were before. It's estimated that of all lottery winners, close to 1% have any money left. Most lose most of it or go back to where they started or declare bankruptcy. And where do you think that money goes? Right? What do you think that lottery winners buy? They buy shit they don't need from businesses owned by the 1%. People are really quick to get up in arms about the 1% owning all these businesses. And as soon as they get any money, they spend money on businesses owned by that 1%. As soon as you give people money, all their notions of being against the wealthy elite go straight out the window. They soon discover that they can buy stuff sold by the 1%. Redistribution of wealth doesn't work like people imagine it would. More on that in kind of the next point. But what about those who are really poor? Like no money in the bank, they just need food stamps or food bins at Christmas. What about those who are just scraping by with the government paying their rent and their bills just so they can have a roof over their head? And that sounds to me like we have another method of redistributing money and wealth in order to help those who can't help themselves or those that don't want to help themselves. Let's go back to our broken leg analogy from before. Some kid is running around, fucking about on a roof and slips up trying to impress his friend and breaks his leg. Now, whose fault is that? It's his, okay? No big deal. He's learned his lesson, but it is his fault. If a doctor offers to fix that broken leg, whose fault is it if he turns that down? Okay, whose fault is it if he turns it down? It's his. Imagine deciding to live with a broken leg simply because you don't want to read or learn or be educated on what broken legs do to you for the rest of your life. No more running, walking is painful, you could get an infection, you could lose the leg, you could even gain weight because you can't work so much, you could even die. Every single consequence of that action is the fault of the child that broke their leg. Now imagine he teaches his children that if you break your leg, you shouldn't fix it. Even if the reasons sound insane and lazy and weak, it's drilled into himself and his children that you shouldn't get it fixed. And that sounds fucking mental, right? Imagine that happening. Educating yourself with money is how you redistribute wealth. Wealthy people want you to be wealthy. It's easier for them to become rich when you're rich as well. Remember that even though it isn't perfect and it isn't always as much as it could be, tax from profit is exactly the method that we use to help those who can't earn more. My mum, she was a teacher, but she now works with very disabled people, mentally handicapped individuals who are like mentally half their age or even younger. Many of them can't speak. Their brain actually doesn't allow them to vocalize words. However, they have an iPad-style tablet which allows them to communicate. You can actually ask them, I'm getting a bit choked up here. You can ask them, Tom, have you had enough to eat? And Tom has learned to press 3 buttons on his little tablet saying, I am full. You can say, okay, Tom, would you like to get some pudding? You know, you can have a cookie or some yogurt, and Tom can press 3 buttons and say, I want cookie. Now, I've seen this in real life, and these kids, even in the last 18 months, 2 years, are now being given a voice and being able to talk and communicate with people about what they want to have for lunch and dinner and pudding. We couldn't have done that without this very sophisticated piece of technology. Poor people didn't build that tablet. Rich people did. Rich people who wanted to solve a problem. Teams of designers and engineers and programmers, manufacturing people, marketing people, salespeople, language experts, disability researchers, doctors, logistics businesses, carers, trainers, they all had to be employed by someone to make this happen. I absolutely do not believe in trickle-down economics. It's pretty much been proven to be absolute horseshit, but I do believe in the transfer of wealth. I believe that you're capable of being the richest person on the planet, paying plenty of taxes to help children like Tom and build solutions that help other people. Your moral obligation is to make as much money as possible. So let's look at a quick positive money mindset. Being poor is a choice, and I choose to be rich. I'll gladly educate myself, and I'm grateful to live in a world where I can learn everything I need to make more money. You're no longer going to be proud to be poor. You're going to be proud to be rich. And who says that being rich isn't praiseworthy? We praise everyone else for overcoming any kind of adversity. Royal Marines who have become paraplegic and then decide to become a pilot. Children who lose all 4 limbs to become a wrestler. Adversity and challenging and changing your life is up to you, and you should absolutely be proud of it. Your financial fitness is up to you, and you can do it. So belief number 5, the final one. Thanks for sticking with me on all this one. If I had just one big payment, life would be easier. And I think this is the most common belief that we have about money. It's also the biggest myth. Have you ever thought that your marketing funnel business would be saved if you had just one more big payment come in? What did you do with the last $10 that you had in your wallet? And I know what I did because it will be in my budget book or my app, my budget software in Xero. So whatever you did with your last $10 is probably what will happen with your next $100,000. The windfall fallacy is a myth that people buy into, expecting it to make their financial lives easier. They say, if I just had one more project, then the business would be okay. If I had one big payment, then my bills would be taken care of. If I could start getting better with money, if I had a little breathing room, only if I had one big project come in. So do you remember starting your marketing funnel business and thinking, my costs are low, I don't have staff, I don't have any tools, I just need to cover costs and pay the bills. Yet you've been going a while and your expenses seem to be going up. it literally doesn't seem to make sense. You've slowly been increasing your fees and income, but for some reason you never have any money left. I mean, what the fuck, right? Let's go one step further. Have you spent someone else's money to get something you want? So, or something that you want now? And I'm talking about loans and credit cards and debt, overdrafts. Often the windfall fallacy is a result of having debt. We often think that having a big windfall could pay off our debt and that will make our lives easier. If we pay off our debt, then we could start saving. If we pay this month's bills, then we could start being better with our money. That's like saying you need to lose weight before going to the gym, or you need to lose weight before changing your diet. It doesn't make a lot of sense, does it? Your marketing funnel business will either thrive or die on your financial habits and discipline. How is it that some people can run marathons over and over and over? I personally know people who have run over 100 marathons. I knew people who do multiple Ironmans and other fucking mental things. Do you think they decided to start to do the marathon and once they've done it, start training? Just a quick note on credit cards, by the way. I don't believe that all debt is bad, but when it impacts your ability to be profitable and sleep well at night, it's clearly something you need to fix. There's a bit of a chicken and egg paradox. Until you've got money, you can't save money, right? If you've got debt, it's tough to put money away. And not only do you have debt and bills and overheads and costs and stuff, you're now expected to take more of that and save it. And I got 3 little words for you, PYF, or pay yourself first. So you could check out any of these books. Money by Rob Moore, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Rob Kiyosaki, The Richest Man in Babylon by George Glasson, Profit First by Mike Michalowicz. I'm probably missing a few. The list goes on, and they all talk about paying yourself first. PYF, pay yourself first. How you must build a habit of taking a percentage of your income and keeping it forever. That's kind of the goal, is whatever you get, 10% of it, you need to keep hold of for the rest of your life. Never give away to anybody else. You need to take your money from any income first. You must pay yourself first and pay until you learn that habit and feel like a windfall. Paying off debt first, I think, is the first thing you need to do. First, calling out your debtors, working out a payment plan, and most are pretty happy to reduce payment terms if it means getting paid back. And put aside 10% of your income into your debt accounts and pay it off, right? Simple. 50% of your business income goes to you. And this might sound like a lot, but in Mike Michalowicz's book, Profit First, he talks about giving 50% of your business income to you as salary or payment. Over time, as your business revenue increases, you can reduce this percentage, but start by paying yourself. And interestingly, this works back to starting to learn to increase your prices as well. 1/10 of all I earn will be mine to keep. And this comes from The Richest Man in Babylon by George Glasson. He talks about keeping 10% or 1/10 of everything you earn forever. We've paid off our debt and we now pay ourselves. But any money we earn, we just live on 90% of it. 10% is put away and saved. It's invested and kept for a long term. These 3 rules of money make it more manageable and clearly show you that there is a system of the money mindset. One of the biggest things I struggled with when starting my business was money feeling like water. I just couldn't seem to control it, and those that could seemed like magicians to me. The concept of managing money and controlling it seemed almost ethereal until I read all the books, and I'm still reading. You can check out a list of books, I'll link them below. On money management, the 3 rules came up again and again and again. Being rich and wealthy comes from repeated habitual actions and habits. Small inputs over time create massive outputs. I don't need windfalls now. They are a welcome bonus, of course, and I'd never turn them down, but my debts and payments and outgoings are managed. Here's the key. Sometimes I overspend my income, all right? I live above my means. It happens, and it happens to the best of us. The key is that I'm able to focus on the important things like my long-term future finances, credit score is a huge one, my marketing funnel business overheads, and the rest can be worked on. And what do we mean by worked on? Well, I'd rather find the money to pay for something than cut back. That seems the exact opposite of common sense and often taught practices on money management. If I've decided something's worth buying, I don't cut back or get a refund or something. I work to find the money to pay for it. I would rather grow out of debt than shrink to pay debt. You can't grow a marketing business or any business by cutting costs. It doesn't work. If I've bought software or advertising space or outsourcing work or anything else the business needs, I'll find the money for it. Cool. So let's look at a healthy money mindset here. I can create limitless wealth, pay off my debt, and I don't need the pure luck and chance of a windfall to pay off my debt. I can do that myself, and I don't have to make massive sacrifices. You're not going to lose weight overnight in a windfall. You're not going to read every book you want in one fell swoop. You're never going to travel to all the countries you want to travel in just one trip. Your financial problems won't go away with one windfall payment. It takes discipline and habit to create a lifetime of monetary stability and success. Wealth is built over time with habit, but that will put you in better stead than you could have ever hoped with one single payment. You can either have temporary pleasure now, but long-term pain, or short-term pain and long sustainable pleasure. Let's look about wrapping it up here. When I've given this talk, a lot of people have said, oh, that's all well and good, Mike, but I don't have any money now. And I hear you. And I understand that. I really do. Lots of funnel businesses say the same thing. But what we found is that you have infinite potential to earn more money than you could ever spend. It's all about time and habit. What most marketing funnel businesses do is jump from opportunity to opportunity, thinking it will give them the cash injection that they need. One minute you're doing funnels for authors, next you're building for an LMS for an online course, next you're delivering Facebook ads for a sports company. Nothing links these activities. And the same goes for things like outreach, like blogging or video. One minute you're using YouTube videos, the next time you're blogging, then you try Facebook Live and Snapchat. There is no fast route to money. Yes, there are things that seem like an opportunity, but frankly, they require just as much time and effort as every other project or action. You must stick to a type of project and an action if you want to build wealth. That's basically it. Some days it will seem like any other opportunity seems more profitable, but that isn't dedication, and repeated actions over and over is what generates profit. If you feel like you don't have any money now, think about the other times when you've had no money, right? List them out. Have you changed your opportunities and outreach actions since having no money? And I'm going to bet that you probably have. And that's a huge key. Pick an action and a deliverable and repeat it over and over and over until it gains huge momentum. Focus on helping people over and over, and the money will follow. When I really connected with my rich Mike was when I did that, was when I saw that there were literal habits and actions that I could take, putting aside 10% every single time I had money coming in, paying off debts, working slowly to erode debt, and then creating profits and saving. It also made a massive difference when I started to learn more about money. There are so many books on money and making it and saving, investing and all this kind of stuff. There's no reason for you to have to struggle with money and your current mindset, and there are so many ways to work on it. Thanks very much, guys. This video was way longer than I wanted it to be. If you've got any questions or thoughts on this video on money or your money mindset, let me know. If any of those healthy money mindsets were useful for you, I'll link this blog post down below and you can kind of check that out. And in the meantime, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I hope this has helped you with your money mindset around your funnel business. I'm Mike from sellyourservice.co.uk. Keep building those funnels.